Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. Jay and Janelle are off tonight. The 66th legislative session is set to get underway in about 2 weeks. From health care to drugs to the billion-dollar question, the state budget, the legislative session already has a full plate. Tonight, MTN chief political reporter Mike Dennison zeroes in on the coming debate over state spending priorities and taxes.
Democratic Governor Steve Bullock has an ambitious agenda in his proposed budget, including state funding for preschool, freezing tuition and need-based aid for state colleges, and a $290 million infrastructure package. But it also includes almost $80 million a year in new taxes to help pay for it all. And Republicans who control the legislature say that's a non-starter.
We don't have an appetite to pass any taxes, and I feel very confident in saying that.
Bullock is proposing higher taxes or fees on tobacco, beer, wine, lodging, rental cars, and investment advisors, many of whom live out of state. Democratic Senate Minority Leader John Sesso of Butte says tax increases should be judged on whether they're fair and what they fund, including tax relief on other items.
I'm sure there's probably a wad of tax bills down there to reduce taxes. Well, you can't reduce taxes in areas where you think tax relief is warranted unless we're taking advantage of taxes in areas where it's common practice.
Sesso also says Bullock's infrastructure plans are a good investment for all corners of the state, rural and urban. For the past several sessions, Republicans at the legislature have rejected major infrastructure bills that borrow money. But on education funding and programs, at least one Republican leader says that's a priority for the GOP as well.
We'll make sure we put the students of Montana first, whether it's K through 12, and maybe help some pre-K students, along with kids after they graduate from high school, to make sure they have the right path forward to jobs in Montana.
Still, Hertz says Republicans want to accomplish those goals within existing tax revenue. Governor Bullock and fellow Democrats wonder if that's possible and want lawmakers to keep their options and their minds open.
I sure hope that neither Democrats or Republicans will start drawing the lines in the sand in December because their constituents expect government to be funded.
I'd say some of those lines are already drawn. But during 4 months of a legislative session, there's plenty of time to see some shifting sands as well. At the Capitol, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
And tomorrow, Mike looks at another big issue before the 2019 legislature, drugs, both illegal and legal. Some new laws changing for the new year in Montana that you'll want to know about. One will give a boost to minimum wage workers. Montanans earning minimum wage will see a 20-cent increase to $8.50 an hour. Governor Steve Bullock previously said that Montana ranks among a handful of states where each year workers making minimum wage get to take home a little extra in their paychecks. In 2006, Bullock led a ballot initiative approved by Montana voters to raise the minimum wage and require that wage to be adjusted annually for inflation. The Montana Department of Labor estimates that 8,200 Montana workers will receive higher wages due to the 2019 minimum wage increase. And starting in January, Montanans can start to apply for a Real ID. Now, over the last couple of years, the state has been working toward implementation and compliance with the Real ID Act. These are some of the commercials reminding us that it's coming. In 2017, the legislature and Governor Bullock directed the state to create an optional driver's license that complies with the federal Real ID Act of 2005. Real ID compliant driver's licenses have a gold star in the upper right-hand corner. Montanans can apply for a Real ID beginning in January, on January 7th. Montana Real ID compliant IDs are required to fly domestically and for access to federal facilities by October of 2020. Tomorrow marks the first full week of the government shutdown. Both the Senate and the House were back in session today, but there were no signs of a breakthrough to end the funding stalemate. Natalie Brand has the latest from Washington.
Both chambers of Congress convened for mere minutes on Thursday, but neither took any action to end the partial government shutdown.
Section 2B of House Resolution 1180.
That voice interrupting in the background is Democratic Congressman Jim McGovern, who says he tried to offer a measure in the Republican-led House to reopen shuttered government agencies.
I wasn't even given the courtesy of being recognized on the House floor, which is unprecedented.
Democrats are refusing to give President Trump the $5 billion he wants to help build a southern border wall. Without money for the wall, the president says he will not sign a deal to fund the government.
Compromise doesn't seem to be a word that the Democrats are willing to engage in at this point.
Current Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, says the White House is engaged in talks with Senate Democrats, but Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says the two sides remain very far apart. With no real signs of progress, the shutdown standoff could continue into the next Congress. And with a Democratic-controlled House in the new year, relations between the president and Congress could become even more contentious. Some 800,000 federal employees are either working without pay or furloughed. Many federal contractors, like Maggie McGarry, are getting hit too.
Not only do I not get back pay, nor do I have any certainty about when I might be able to start back up again, I also am kind of stuck in a holding pattern in terms of being able to do something in the meantime.
Thursday, the U.S. Office of Personnel Management issued guidance for furloughed workers, including examples of how to ask creditors for more time to pay bills. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
A new Reuters Ipsos poll finds 47% of adults blame President Trump for the government shutdown, while 33% blame Democrats in Congress. 7% blame congressional Republicans. Today, stock markets continue to rise after yesterday's big comeback, with the Dow closing up another 250 points. Here in Billings, a 27-year-old man is in custody tonight after police say he stole and then crashed a Jaguar this afternoon. Skylar Littlelight was arrested after he fled from police shortly before 4:30 today. Police thought he was a wanted felon, which is why they went after him. Littlelight then ran a red light at the intersection of South 24th Street West and Monad Road. Doing so, he hit a work truck, which then spun out and hit a Nissan Xterra. Littlelight ran from the Jaguar and tried to get into another vehicle, but was arrested. One person was transported to the hospital with minor injuries. And a bizarre story in Butte. A man is in the hospital after firing a gun inside a building, then leaping from a second-story window. The man first entered the Butte Police Department saying he was in danger. Then he walked across the street to a nearby building. Employees were told to leave after police say the man mentioned that he would shoot anybody who wasn't wearing a badge. After employees escaped, the man began firing out the second-story window. After firing 4 or 5 rounds, he then jumped out of the window, severely injuring himself. The reasons for his actions are still under investigation. All right, turning to the weather now, Bob. It was cold out there today. Also really foggy in some
foggy.
areas.
We had a little bit of moisture moving in. It mixed with light wind and cold temperatures, and all of a sudden we had some fog. Let me show you how this whole thing developed. We can show you. There's your soup of the day. That's the way it looked earlier. Take a look at that. Now, here's what's going to happen. We call this advection fog. It started off with a cold surface. That's what we had. We had snow on the ground. Then we took some warm, moist air and blew it across that cold surface. And so what happens with that? Well, once you get that warm, moist air moving across the cold ground, it starts to cool that air down to saturation point. That's where the humidity gets to be 100%, and that's when fog starts to develop, and that's what we had today. Now, this typically occurs when a warm front will move over snow in the winter months, and that's obviously what happened today. We're expecting another warm front tomorrow to continue to push across eastern Montana. Maybe we could see some fog there as well. We'll have the rest of your forecast and a few more minutes. Russ?
Thank you, Bob. CenturyLink says a major path issue is what has caused outages across Montana and several other states today. Now, this is affecting banks, police departments, and other businesses across the state. CenturyLink is posting updates on its Facebook page. And just minutes ago, the company announced its technicians and engineers have identified the cause of the outage, and they expect services will be restored within 4 hours. And because of that outage, Verizon customers in the region are experiencing problems as well. Officials at Verizon say they route their services like calls and texts through fiber lines. In our region, those lines belong to CenturyLink, so Verizon services in the area are being affected as well. We did reach out to the Billings Police Department today, who said that they've not had any disturbances to their operations, mentioning that they recently switched telephone providers. Coming up on tonight's 10 o'clock news, we look back on the top health stories of 2018, including one of the worst flu seasons in years. Plus, beer without alcohol. The Montana company is branching out from its regular brews. And later in sports, a ticket to this year's Super Bowl. Well, that'll cost you over $5,000, but a ticket to Super Bowl I, we'll tell you what one Billings man had to pay for that one in just a bit.
You're watching MTN News with Jay Cohn and Janelle Slade. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Green. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.